What's up, guys? Today I'm going to show you how to do a basic dubstep style wobble in Logic Pro 9. If you want to hear an example of where I use this in a song, there'll be a link to one of my songs, Wood Grain, in the description. And I don't use it in a dubstep way, but I do use this type of wobble in it. So anyways, let's get started. I've got a new project here. I'm just going to add in a software instrument. Okay. Then I'm going to load in the ES2 in stereo. I think that's the easiest synthesizer to use to get this particular sound. I have already made what I call a plain sine, and that's just a plain sine wave sound, and so it basically resets the ES2 and makes it easy to start from scratch because there's nothing really running. Okay, so the first thing, I'm going to change it over to poly. Then I'm going to add, I'll put that about there. You can adjust that wave any way you really want, to the way you want it to sound. As you can see, it's dropped down to -12. You can also drop it to -24 to get an even lower, grittier sound. I'm going to turn on the second oscillator. I'm going to turn it down here to where it says sine. You can right click on that and you have all these different voicings you can run through that oscillator. So my favorite is Bell 6. At least that's one of the ones I really like. A lot of people like to use organ, and I can show you how that sounds in a minute. Okay, then I'm going to turn on the third oscillator, make that a square wave, turn that about halfway as well. I'm going to give it a little bit of glide. And so this is what it sounds like right now. I'm sorry. Okay. I don't know if you can hear that. It's a little bit of a thunderstorm over here. Okay, so I'm going to turn my filter on now. I give it a little bit of drive. Pull the resonance down a little bit. I'm going to turn this back to 12 and make it fat. Okay, I'm going to give it some distortion, make this sound on the, kind of on the dark, and give you a little bit. Drop this down to 12, get a little bit better low end. Okay, and we're kind of getting there. It's got a little bit of a gritty sound. I'm going to change this up to 6 voices. You can change it more if you need to. Now I've got a little bit of a punch. I'm going to go ahead and drop this down to 24 to get a little bit deeper, a little bit darker sound. You kind of hear it's got a little bit, it's got a lot more grit, a lot more bite to it. We're going to come down here and target 1. We're going to put cut 1, 2. Now you can just use cut 1 or cut 2, but I like to use both of them. I think it sounds better. We're going to turn this to off. We don't want to run it through the envelope filter. And we're going to put it into the LFO2, which is right here, so that'll control its rate. Now we've got to grab this arrow, and this is basically how much it's going to cut. So that's not too much right now. We'll turn this down to a decent speed, okay, 1/8 T. Okay, so and then what this arrow does, I'll show you, is you basically is how much that cutoff is going to oscillate there, and so you can really get really dirty with it. We're just going to keep it more at a wobble. Where it is right there. So in the second one here, we're going to go to pitch 2, keep that off, and we're going to run it through the LFO1. We're going to jack this all the way to the top. Again, it's something you can play with if you want to. Then we're going to turn the decay to about 1.4 or so. You can again play with that to get the sound you want. Another thing you can really adjust to get a unique sound is this cutoff right here. Which basically is what you're adjusting over here. But you can change it here, and then this will change based on the amount you've got it preset as. I mean, that's just a basic sound. You can kind of tweak around with it a lot. You can change this, like I said. A lot of people like to use like an organ. You can do all kinds of things, like you can drop this down, drop this down again. You can change the waveform here. You can get some unique sounds. There's all kinds of things like that. So really, from there, once you kind of get your oscillator set up and you put this cutoff and this pitch selector on, I mean, the possibilities are endless to get the exact sounds you want. I mean, you can change your distortion, your tone. There's all kinds of things you can change. And it's basically personal preference from there as far as what you want to hear, what you want for your specific song, how dark, how high you want it. You can then also pass it through the envelopes and get, you know, different unique sounds, but I typically don't play with those. So again, if you want to hear how I use it, I definitely don't use it quite in a dubstep way, but the song Wood Grain of Mine by Pawn 4, if you go kind of in the bridge area, there's a wobble. So thanks.